The Galactic Combat Academy's training grounds fell silent as the war beast emerged from its holding pen. Kravoth was no ordinary creature. It was 8 feet of corded muscle, chitinous armor, and predatory intelligence. Bred by the Vorkesh Empire specifically to test warrior mettle, the beast had never been bested by a cadet in the Academy's 200-year history. Commander Zalthir, a towering Kralix with 4 arms and scales that shimmered like polished obsidian, watched from the observation deck as another cadet was dragged from the arena. The Dendari student's crystalline exoskeleton was cracked in 3 places. "Next candidate," Zalthir announced, his voice reverberating through the speakers. Below, in the waiting area, 73 cadets from 17 different species stood in nervous clusters. They had all watched Kravoth dismantle their classmates with methodical precision. The beast didn't just defeat opponents, it studied them, learned their patterns, and exploited every weakness with surgical efficiency. Sarah Chen stood apart from the others, her human frame seeming almost fragile among the assembled warriors. At 5'6", she was dwarfed by nearly every other species present. The Kralix averaged 8 feet. The Vorkesh were living tanks. Even the diminutive Pixari possessed natural armor plating and venomous spines. Humans had none of these advantages. No claws, no armor, no enhanced strength or speed. Just soft skin, fragile bones, and a brain that seemed determined to get them killed. "The humans should withdraw," rumbled Gorthak, a Vorkesh cadet built like a walking fortress. "Kravoth will tear her apart in seconds." Sarah didn't respond. She was watching the beast through the arena's transparent barrier, studying the way it moved, the rhythm of its breathing, the slight favor it showed its left rear leg. "Cadet Chen, you're next." The announcement sent a ripple through the crowd. Several species made sounds that translated to variations of surprise and concern. The Academy had only recently begun accepting humans into the combat program, and the results had been mixed. Humanity's lack of natural weapons made them seem like prey animals playing at being predators. Sarah stepped into the arena. The sandy floor crunched beneath her boots. Kravoth turned its massive head toward her, 6 eyes focusing with unsettling intelligence. Its mandibles clicked in what might have been amusement. From the observation deck, instructor Velshara, a Dendari master tactician, leaned toward Zalthir. "This is cruel. The human has no chance." "She insisted on participating," Zalthir replied. "Humans are stubborn that way." In the arena, Kravoth began its approach, a slow, confident stalk. It had learned that rushing smaller opponents caused them to panic and make mistakes, but they still died just as easily. Sarah didn't move. She stood perfectly still, arms relaxed at her sides, watching. The beast circled, waiting for the fear response all prey exhibited, but the human's heart rate remained steady. Her breathing was controlled. Most unnervingly, she maintained eye contact, not in challenge, but in observation. Kravoth feinted left. Sarah's eyes tracked the movement, but her body didn't react. The beast feinted right. Still nothing. This was unusual. Most cadets either froze in terror or attacked desperately by now. Then Sarah did something that made every observer lean forward. She sat down cross-legged on the arena floor. "What is she doing?" Velshara gasped. Kravoth stopped circling. In all its years as a testing beast, no opponent had ever done this. Sitting was submission. Sitting was surrender. But the human's posture didn't signal submission. She sat with her back straight, hands resting on her knees, still making calm eye contact. The beast's tactical processors, bred over generations to read combat intentions, found nothing in its programming for this scenario. It cautiously approached, massive head lowering to investigate this strange behavior. Sarah slowly extended her hand, palm down, not reaching toward the beast but offering it for inspection. She spoke in a low, steady voice. "I know you're more than just a weapon. I see you." What happened next would be analyzed and debated in military academies across the galaxy for decades. Kravoth stopped 3 feet from Sarah. Its breathing changed patterns. The aggressive tension in its posture shifted to something else. Curiosity, perhaps, or recognition. The beast had been bred, trained, and conditioned to fight. Every opponent it had ever faced saw it as an enemy to defeat or a test to overcome. But this human saw it as a being. Slowly, so slowly that the observers thought their sensors were malfunctioning, Kravoth lowered its massive head. Its armored snout came to rest near Sarah's outstretched hand. One of its 6 eyes closed in what any human would recognize as trust. Sarah gently placed her hand on the beast's head. "You've never lost because you're just following your programming," she whispered. "But you've never won either, have you? You've never had a choice." The arena remained silent for a full minute. Then Kravoth did something that shattered every protocol and precedent in the Academy's history. It lowered its entire body to the ground and placed its head on Sarah's lap. The universal posture of submission among pack predators. "Impossible," Zalthir breathed. "Kravoth doesn't submit. It's been conditioned against it." Velshara's crystalline features reflected understanding. "That's exactly the point, Commander.
Humans don't just break conditioning, they see past it."
Where we saw a war beast, she saw a captive soldier. She didn't defeat Kravoth. She freed it. In the arena, Sarah stood slowly and Kravoth rose with her, staying close to her side like a guardian rather than an opponent. She turned to face the observation deck, her hand resting on the beast's armored shoulder. "Permission to speak, Commander," she called out. Zalthir activated the comm. "Granted. Humans learned something thousands of years ago, sir. The strongest warriors aren't the ones who can defeat every enemy. They're the ones who can turn enemies into allies. Kravoth isn't my opponent. It never should have been anyone's opponent. It should have been our partner." The commander's 4 hands gripped the railing. Every tactical doctrine, every training protocol, suddenly seemed to shift perspective under the weight of this simple human insight. "The test is complete," Zalthir announced. "Cadet Chen passes with highest honors." As Sarah left the arena with Kravoth walking beside her, the other cadets parted in awed silence. The human hadn't just passed an impossible test. She had revealed a truth that warrior cultures across the galaxy had missed for millennia. Sometimes the greatest strength isn't the power to destroy. It's the courage to understand, and as the galaxy would soon learn, that particular trait was something humans possessed in abundance.